Hello and welcome to the Dowden Report. I am your host and your financial advisor, Joshua Dowden. This past Monday, the 26th, officially kicked off the summer of 2025 as we celebrated Memorial Day. Baseball and barbecue, family and friends, swimming pools, and cool summer nights. I know you know how much I love the summer. Well, since my last report, the markets have calmed down and moved back into positive territory. Albeit modestly, it's a start, hopefully a sign of things to come. And I've been working hard to finish my new website. So when you get a chance, please go visit dowdenfinancialservices.com to see what we've been up to. Now, Jeannie and I recently got back from another trip to Arizona, where, of course, we were visiting with my mom, but then we made a detour down to Tucson, where we got to see some friends, Doug, Marlene, and Sue. I've included some pics of our travels to the Old West and a gem of a picture of Doug and Marlene. Let's see if you can see who is who. Now, I hadn't been back to Tucson in quite a while. But now I had so much fun, we're thinking about making this one an annual trip. And of course, you do know I love my trips to Arizona. And if you remember, my son is stationed in the Army up in Alaska. He'll be on leave in the next couple of weeks, so we're going to head down to Fossil Creek and Strawberry to visit my mom again and properly ring in the new summer down with a trip to the ice cold waters and the gorgeous landscapes of Fossil Creek. So now, on with the report. As you can see on the chart, federal debt has been rising over the past decade relative to GDP. It's relevant to compare debt with GDP because what matters is whether the economy can support the current level of debt. Throughout history, budget negotiations in Washington have created periods of market uncertainty. Now, as citizens, it's only natural to be concerned about our nation's fiscal path, with growing deficits and limited solutions in sight. However, when it comes to your investments, perspective matters. Over the past 15 years, we've seen multiple fiscal standoffs create volatility, from the 2011 Standard & Poor's downgrade to a government shutdown in 2018 and 2019. Yet, in each case, markets eventually stabilized and recovered, as they just recently did again. Rather than reacting to Washington headlines, history suggests maintaining a disciplined approach focused on the long term is the best way to achieve financial goals. On with the good. Tax cuts, and more tax cuts. Who doesn't want a tax cut? It is likely that key provisions of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act will be extended with the tax bill currently working its way through Congress. The current proposal aims to provide economic stability by preventing a potential tax cliff, where rates would suddenly revert to higher levels from before the TCJA was enacted. For individuals, the proposal would make the 37% top tax rate permanent. It would increase the child tax credit to $2,500 through 2028 and potentially raise the controversial state and local tax deduction from $10,000 to $30,000. Now, commonly referred to as a SALT tax, that's going to primarily affect California and New York, with a few other people maybe in Chicago along the way. But for most of us, that's not going to be too much on our taxes, or not going to be a big deal on our taxes. Now, there are going to be some business tax deductions along the way that I will let you go ahead and read up on if you are a business owner or if that is of interest to you. But just keep in mind that all this is subject to change as the bill makes its way through the House and then through the Senate. Now the bad. Moody's, one of the three main credit rating agencies, recently downgraded the U.S. credit rating, marking the official end of America's top-tier status. This follows similar action by Fitch in 2023 and Standard & Poor's way back in 2011. The decision reflects growing concerns about America's fiscal trajectory as the national debt continues to expand. The timing is particularly notable as Congress debates a new budget bill that could potentially increase annual deficits, highlighting the tension between revenue constraints and growing government spending. Over the next few minutes, we're going to discuss the fiscal uncertainty and what that can mean for you as an investor. And finally, that brings us to the ugly. This chart shows that despite efforts to control government spending, the federal budget deficits continue to add to the national debt. The latest budget proposal includes approximately $1.6 trillion in spending cuts through changes to social programs, but these cuts are outweighed by tax deductions and increased spending elsewhere. The current proposed bill is estimated to add another $3 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. This comes as our national debt already exceeds $36 trillion, equivalent to approximately $106,000 for every American. While the downgraded U.S. credit rating reflects legitimate concerns on our long-term financial health, History suggests that the most prudent approach for investors is to stay invested and maintain a disciplined long-term financial strategy. Now, I hope you found this insightful and helpful. If you would like to discuss the tax bill, the national debt, or your financial plan in more detail, please don't hesitate to reach out and give me a call. I look forward to hearing from you. In summary, the housing sales are up for now, but manufacturing continued to decline in April, just not as much as expected. Keep in mind, this sector was sluggish before, in every month before the tariff talks began. The employment index remains firmly in contraction territory, with 8 of the 18 industries reporting lower employment in April. We'll see what May looks like here in the next couple of weeks. Federal debt to GDP and federal budget deficits continue to run hot, while federal taxes remain on the administration's priority list. How this will affect long-term fiscal outlook remains uncertain, but at least for now, stocks have regained the momentum. Looking forward to a positive 2025. As always, if it's time for your review or you just need to talk, please don't hesitate to call me, reach out. I am always available for you. If you found this information useful, I'm sure your friends will too. Please feel free to share, like, and subscribe to the channel. For the Dowden Report, I am Joshua Dowden.